Claire awoke to the relentless beep of her alarm at 6 a.m., her hand instinctively cradling the gentle curve of her 6-month belly. The bedroom was bathed in pale dawnlight spilling through sheer curtains. Framed wedding photos lined her dresser, smiling faces of herself and Evan, her tall, dark-haired husband, yet today the images felt like reminders of a life growing farther away. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, wincing as a mild cramp rippled through her lower back. Making her way to the kitchen, she found her favorite mug half filled with lukewarm coffee. Evan was already gone. His car had left without a backward glance. She poured a fresh cup, trying to dissolve the knot in her chest. By 7:15 a.m., she was caught in the surge of morning commuters. The subway ride rattled her nerves as much as it did her joints, each jolt reminded her of the tiny life she carried. At the glass-fronted offices of Boyd Associates, she stepped into the sleek lobby, head held high, though inside she trembled. Her colleague Linda waved from across the floor. "Claire! You look radiant." Claire forced a smile. "Thanks, Linda. Busy day ahead." Just then, her phone pinged. A text from Evan. "Evan, don't be late on the Henderson projections again. And stop moving so slow." Her chest tightened. She tucked her phone away and settled behind her desk. Before she could open her laptop, Mr. Boyd himself appeared, clipboard in hand. "Ms. Carter, good morning. I trust you're ready for the 9 o'clock briefing?" His gaze flicked to her bump. "Impressive, given your condition. Let's keep the pace up, shall we?" Claire nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. She watched him walk away, heels clicking against the polished floor, then forced herself to breathe. She had the data, she had the expertise, and she would not let either of these men define her worth. As the clock spun toward 9 o'clock, Claire's fingers flew over the keyboard, slides taking shape. But beneath her professional exterior, doubt festered. Was she too slow? Too emotional? Or just invisible in her own life? Claire stood before the conference table, her laptop projected on the wall. 3 senior clients peered at her slides. Evan lounged at the head of the table, arms folded, eyes glinting with arrogance. She began. "Claire, steady voice. Our Q2 projections show a 12.4% increase in revenue, driven primarily by the Smithson account ramp-up." She highlighted a graph. In the front row, a client nodded. "Very thorough." Relief bloomed in Claire's chest, until Evan cleared his throat. "Evan, quietly, if you'd finished a bit faster, I wouldn't have had to bail you out with the QA." A nervous chuckle rippled around the table. Claire's cheeks burned. She bit back a retort, her throat constricting. Afterward, she slipped into the empty break room, pouring herself a glass of water. She dialed Jenny's number on impulse. No answer. She drummed her fingers, then squashed her phone. Moments later, her screen lit up again, a text from Evan. "Evan, see that 3 p.m. deadline as your chance to prove you're not just whining for attention." Whining. The word echoed, twisting like a knife. Claire leaned back against the counter, eyes closed. She wanted to scream, to cry, to vanish. Instead, she squared her shoulders and checked the time, 1:52 p.m. 2 hours left. Back at her desk, Mr. Boyd passed by, palm tapping his phone. "Those projections, Ms. Carter? I need them by end of day." He didn't wait for an answer. Claire nodded, setting to work with the ferocity of someone with everything to prove. At 2:20 p.m., she glanced up to see Evan and Mr. Boyd leaning in her direction, whispering and sharing a smirk. "Mr. Boyd," murmured, "pregnancy must be slowing her down, eh?" Evan, soft laugh, "She'll complain it's the baby's fault next." Claire's breath hitched. She slammed her laptop shut, startling nearby coworkers. They exchanged worried looks, but she simply stood and walked out, refusing to let them trap her any longer. That evening, the Grand Regency Hotel glittered under chandeliers as Boyd Associates hosted its annual gala. Claire stood before her full-length mirror at home, smoothing an emerald dress over her bump. She hesitated, heart pounding. This time, she wouldn't let them see her break. At the hotel entrance, Mr. Boyd greeted them with practiced charm. "Claire, you look beautiful." His lips curved, but his eyes were cold. Evan squeezed her arm. "Let's make an entrance." Inside, the foyer teemed with well-heeled clients. Waiters maneuvered trays of canapes. Soft jazz drifted from the corner stage. Claire forced herself onto the red carpet, raising her chin as flashes popped from cameras. Moments later, Mr. Boyd ascended the dais for his welcome speech. He raised a glass. "Mr. Boyd, a toast to Claire Carter, our shining star, still delivering results despite her unique challenges." Polite applause. Claire's face felt aflame. He chuckled. "Mr. Boyd, seriously, who knew pregnancy could look so mobile?" Laughter rippled. Evan turned to her, smirking. "Quite the waddle, huh?" Claire's lips froze in a smile that felt like porcelain cracking. She excused herself and slipped into a corridor. The jazz's last notes hovered in the air as she pushed open a restroom door. Inside, she pressed her palms to cool marble, staring at her reflection. Perfect makeup strained to mask her tears. She whispered to herself, "You are not that woman. You are stronger." Claire sat on the edge of the restroom counter, breathing shallowly. She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, refusing to give them the satisfaction of tears. Slowly, she practiced a calm, polite smile, then pushed back into the ballroom. The band had begun a lively swing tune. Evan intercepted her, offering his arm. "Feel better?" His tone was light, but she detected a jab in his concern. She nodded. Ready for more celebrating. Throughout the next hour, she drifted among guests, offering nods and brief compliments. Each interaction felt choreographed, a laugh here, a sympathetic glance there. When a junior associate confided how excited she was about Claire's upcoming maternity leave, Claire forced enthusiasm. "Junior associate, we'll miss you so much, but you deserve this time to bond with your baby." Claire, brightly, "Thank you. I can't wait." Inside, her stomach knotted. The well-wish felt like an accusation. As the evening wound down, she and Evan made their way to the valet. Outside, crisp air stung her cheeks. The city lights stretched into the distance. In the car, Evan flicked on the engine. Silence reclaimed the space. Claire watched the neon signs blur past. She felt ghostly, present, yet unseen. Her phone vibrated in her purse, a message from Grandma June. "Grandma June, I'm on my way over. Be ready for soup and stories. Love you." Claire's throat loosened. For the first time all night, she felt genuine warmth. She exhaled and closed her eyes, clinging to the promise of refuge. 6 years earlier, autumn leaves carpeted the university quad. Claire balanced textbooks on her hip and paused by the stone fountain to admire the gold and crimson foliage. From behind her, a gentle collision scattered her papers across the walkway. "I'm so sorry." A tall, auburn-haired student knelt to help. His warm brown eyes met hers. "I didn't see you." She laughed, tucking a stray curl behind her ear. "It's my fault, I should watch where I'm going." He introduced himself as Evan Marshall. Over the next hour, they shared coffee at a nearby cafe, laughter echoing above clinking mugs. They spoke of dreams, his plan to revolutionize finance, her ambition to empower women in business. Sparks flew as naturally as the autumn breeze. Their courtship bloomed over study dates in the library. He brought her favorite chai tea, she brought donuts. At the campus gala that December, Evan presented her with a single white rose. "Evan, softly, you're brilliant, Claire. I've never met anyone like you." Under the glow of twinkling lights, he leaned in. Their first kiss tasted of hope and promise. But even then, the edges were flawed. When Claire chatted with a male classmate in the library, Evan watched from across the room, jaw clenched. Later, he teased, "You've got admirers wherever you go." She laughed it off. By graduation, they were inseparable. Their engagement was a fairy tale moment in Grandma June's living room. Yet even on their wedding day, a flicker of jealousy crossed Evan's face when Claire danced with her father. Grandma June had whispered, "He loves you fiercely," as though sensing a fierce quality in him. Back in present day, Claire pressed her palm to the cool glass of the car window. The memory stung like a fresh wound. She traced the shape of her wedding ring, its surface worn smooth. She had clung to the blissful version of Evan, the caring partner who adored her, but now she saw the selective truth of those early days. The car slowed at their house. Claire gathered her purse, sliding out before Evan could open the door. She paused on the porch, inhaling the scent of lilies, fresh from Grandma June's gift. A note lay in her hand. "You are never alone. Grandma June." Claire pressed the card to her heart and stepped inside, eyes bright with tears and determination. She was no longer blinded by love's mirage, she was ready to build something real, on her own terms. End of Chapter 5 cliffhanger. With her grandmother's unwavering support and a new clarity, will Claire finally summon the courage to reclaim her life, or remain trapped in Evan's shadow? Claire woke before dawn again, the rhythmic thump of her unborn son's kicks matching the pulse of her anxiety. The baby's gentle nudges in her womb should have brought comfort, but lately they felt like urgent reminders she was running out of time to reclaim her life. She rose from beneath rumpled sheets, gingerly slipped on her slippers, and padded to the kitchen. The gray morning sky filtered through the windows as she measured oats into a pot. Steam curled into the air, but her appetite was brittle. By 7:30 a.m., she was back on the subway, clutching the handrail as the train lurched forward. Each jolt felt like a test of her resolve. Partnered with the steady hum of commuters, her mind replayed last night's humiliation at the gala, Mr. Boyd's mocking toast, Evan's smirk as they laughed at her expense. She closed her eyes and imagined the boardroom where she had always shone, but the vision frayed at the edges. At 9 o'clock, Claire arrived at Boyd Associates, steeling herself for another day of veiled barbs. Inside the glass-walled meeting room, the team gathered for the weekly strategy huddle. At the head of the table sat Evan, arms folded, leaning back in his chair. Mr. Boyd stood by the projector screen, adjusting his cufflinks. "Let's review our marketing timeline," Mr. Boyd announced. His tone was polite, too polite. He glanced at Claire's bump. "Claire, would you mind leading us off?" She clicked the remote, and her slides illuminated the screen. For a moment, she inhaled deeply, recalling her own competence, the countless hours she had spent perfecting presentations. Then Evan spoke up, voice low enough that only those around him heard. "Evan, quietly, maybe we should shorten this, Claire might need the afternoon nap." A ripple of restrained laughter followed. Claire's jaw clenched, heat rose to her cheeks. She swallowed hard, refusing to respond. Instead, she carried on, her voice crystal clear, even as her heart pounded. After the meeting, Linda slipped her a sympathetic smile. "You handled that so well." Claire managed a tired grin. "Thank you. I've had worse audiences." Linda's nod was earnest. "You should talk to Jenny. She said she'd love to catch up." Claire's chest fluttered. Jenny, that lifeline from her carefree college days, still hovered at the edge of her isolation. She sent a quick text, "Meet me for coffee?" No reply yet. That evening, Claire returned home to the brittle quiet of her apartment. Evan was there, leaning against the counter with 2 glasses of wine. He handed her one. "Rough day?" She forced a polite smile. "The usual." Evan took a slow sip and set his glass down. "You know, I was thinking, since you're expecting, maybe you should consider working part-time. I mean, you'll have plenty on your plate soon enough." Claire's fork paused halfway to her mouth. I'm on a leave schedule already approved." Evan shrugged. "Leaves can change." His eyes were bright, sharp. "I'd hate for you to miss important events because you're tired." His meaning was clear. Fatigue. Pregnancy. Weakness. Claire's throat tightened as she recognized the knife of his concern. "I'll be fine," she said, voice small but firm. He let the comment hang, then pivoted. "Your boss agrees. He joked that you'd appreciate a break. Even he gets it." Claire set her fork down. "That's enough." Evan's lips curved. "Relax, Claire. It's a suggestion." She stood, pushing away from the table. "I'm not a suggestion." He watched her, expression unreadable as she walked out of the kitchen and into the hallway. The click of her heels echoed off bare walls. The next morning, Claire arrived at the office earlier than usual. Her heart pounded as she passed the glossy nameplate on the door, Evan Marshall, senior partner. She reminded herself of her worth, hours of expertise, years of dedication. But when she slipped into her cubicle, a faint echo of laughter caught her ear from the open-plan area. Curiosity warring with caution, Claire edged closer to the glass-walled conference room. Evan's voice, low and amused, drifted out. "Evan, I swear, with that baby bump, Claire's our in-house sloth now." A second voice joined in, one she didn't recognize. "A junior associate? A client? Unseen coworker, she'll be on maternity leave any day. We'll finally get some real work done around here." Claire froze, blood rushing in her ears. She pressed her back against the doorframe, every muscle taut. The men chuckled as though sharing a private joke. It was the confirmation she needed, the pitying jokes, the whispered comments, all signs of their contempt. Steeling herself, she retreated to the break room and closed the door behind her. She leaned against it, heart racing. What drove a man to mock his pregnant wife? Why did they believe her ambition deserved derision? Minutes later, Linda slipped inside. "There you are. You okay?" Claire's voice trembled. "I heard them. They're planning to take my responsibilities from me. They think I won't notice." Linda's eyes widened. "Oh, Claire. I'm so sorry." She reached for Claire's hand. "You deserve better than that." Claire nodded but felt emptier than before. The office, the place where she had built her identity, had become hostile territory. She drained her coffee cup and set it aside. "I need to figure out what to do next." When the workday ended, Claire barely touched her dinner. The uneaten pasta sat cold as she retrieved her phone to call Jenny. Voicemail. She left a message, voice steady. "Claire, on voicemail. Hey, Jenny. It's me. I know it's been a while, but I need someone I can trust. Please call." She hung up and stared at the phone as though waiting for a miracle. Instead, the screen went dark. That night, sleep eluded her. The house was too quiet, the empty rooms amplified every creak and whisper. She padded into the living room and sank onto the couch. In her lap, her phone vibrated with an incoming text, an unknown number. "Unknown, you'll need a backup plan if Claire takes that leave. I can help." Claire's breath caught. Who had reached out? Was it friend or foe? The window panes, Claire heard the car pull into the driveway. She opened the door to find Grandma June standing under an umbrella, bent but unbroken, wearing a floral coat and a knowing smile. "Mind if I come in?" Grandma June asked, stepping inside and shaking her umbrella. The familiar scent of roses and peppermint drifted from her. "Of course," Claire said, closing the door. She guided her grandmother to the kitchen, where she prepared 2 cups of chamomile tea. Grandma June watched every motion, how Claire cradled her bump, how her shoulders tensed. They sat at the small table, rain drumming a steady rhythm. Grandma reached across and clasped Claire's hand. "I heard from Linda you've been struggling." Claire exhaled, the dam breaching. "They think I can't keep up. They joke that I'll be useless soon. Evan's worst." Tears welled. He makes everything harder. Grandma June's eyes softened. Your grandfather used to say, a woman's strength is not measured by the storm she weathers, but by how she dances in the rain. Claire managed a weak smile. He'd have hated this rain. Her grandmother chuckled, then turned serious. Tell me everything. Claire recounted the jokes, the whispers, the supermarket taunts, each act of cruelty grinding her down. Grandma June listened without interruption, nodding, her expression a mixture of sorrow and fierce pride. When Claire finished, silence fell. Finally, Grandma June placed a hand over Claire's heart. You are not alone, child. You are never alone. You have fire in your veins, blood from women who built kingdoms. You forgot, but I remember. Your mother, and her mother before. You carry their courage. Tears slipped down Claire's cheeks, but her spirit stirred. I feel so trapped. Grandma June slid her hand around Claire's shoulder. Traps are for animals, not daughters of queens. You will find a way out, if you believe you deserve freedom. They sat together as the storm raged outside. In that cocoon, Claire felt her resolve strengthen. Yet a question lingered, how to turn wisdom into action. End of Chapter 8 Cliffhanger. With her grandmother's fierce love fueling her, will Claire summon the courage to challenge her circumstances, or will the next hurdle break her? That evening, Claire returned to her desk, this time at home, where she stacked her laptop on the kitchen table, steaming mug of tea at her side. She opened a new browser window and began searching, legal rights for pregnant employees, support groups for expectant single mothers, financial aid for working moms. Each search result felt like a breadcrumb leading her toward an escape route. Her phone buzzed, a reply from the unknown number. With trembling fingers, she opened the message. Unknown, I'm here to help. Meet me at Grace Community Center at 7 p.m. tonight. Come alone. Claire swallowed. Fear and curiosity warred. Who is helping, an ally rallying behind her, or another predator? She scanned Grandma June's old address book, unsure where to find Grace Community Center. Instead, she called Linda. After third ring, Linda answered, voice bright, Claire. I was just thinking of you. Claire hesitated, then said, I need advice. Do you know of a women's shelter or support group in town? Linda paused. Actually, yes. My cousin runs a place called The Haven. It's safe, confidential. Claire scribbled the details. Thank you, Linda. I might need it soon. Anytime, Linda replied, her concern clear. As dusk fell, Claire dressed in a simple navy blouse and jeans, practical attire for blending in. She tucked her phone and keys into her purse and stepped into the mild spring air. The drive to Grace Community Center took her past narrow streets lined with jacaranda trees in bloom. She parked and stood for a moment, hand on the car door, psyche stealing. At 7 p.m., she entered the modest white building. The receptionist greeted her with a gentle nod and pointed to a folding chair in the corner. Across the room, a woman in a dark hijab waved, her eyes kind. Claire sat, scanning her surroundings, pamphlets on job training, flyers for legal aid, a sign reading you deserve respect. Hope flickered. Moments later, the woman approached. Claire Carter, she asked softly. Claire nodded. I'm Miriam, she said, extending her hand. I work with the Haven Network. You called our number? Claire's breath caught. Yes. Miriam guided her to a private office. As the door closed, Claire realized she was telling her story again, this time to someone who believed her. Each word she spoke chipped away at her fear. When she finished, Miriam leaned forward. You deserve a plan. We can help with legal counsel, temporary housing, and job placement after maternity. You are not alone. Claire's eyes glistened. For the first time, she saw an exit route. A roadmap out of humiliation, isolation, and cruelty. Claire returned home in a daze, mind racing with Miriam's assurances. She could feel possibilities unfurling like wings inside her. That night, with cautious optimism, she prepared a simple supper, steamed vegetables and grilled chicken, then settled on the couch, one hand on her bump, the other clutching her phone. A buzz jolted her from reflection. It was Evan's tablet, left on the coffee table. On the lock screen, a preview of his messaging app flashed. Evan, she's so slow. If she's not due for another month, why is she acting like she's ready to break? Evan, sick of supporting her. She's trapping me with this baby. Claire's heart slammed against her ribs as she tapped to unlock. Further messages tumbled out, each one a fresh stab. Evan, everybody's tired of her mood swings. I'm just waiting until she's out of sight. Evan, this was supposed to be my life, not hers. Her breath caught, nausea churned. How easily he flipped from I love you to I hate you. She closed her eyes, letting tears trace silent paths down her cheeks. The cozy apartment felt like a cage. Anger rose, fierce and hot. Claire pictured the kitchen table, her laptop open to the Havens programs, her grandmother's words echoing, "You carry the blood of queens." She realized the truth, she deserved more than whispered insults and consumer-grade sympathy. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard. Should she reply? Confront him? No. Instead, she locked the tablet and pocketed her phone. She stood, clutching the last of her dinner, and marched toward their bedroom. There, she laid the plate on the bed and pulled back the covers. In the soft lamplight, she sat and stroked her belly. "Mommy's going to be okay," she whispered. "I promise." Tomorrow, she would call Miriam and start the paperwork. She would call Grandma June and Linda. She would no longer wait for rescue, she would engineer her own freedom. Claire sat at her kitchen table late that evening, the soft glow of the desk lamp illuminating stacks of pamphlets from the Haven. She'd spent the last 2 days filling out applications for legal aid, lining up childcare referrals, and memorizing the phone number for a low-interest emergency fund. Her world felt simultaneously fragile and full of possibility. For the first time, she had a plan. As she reached for her mug of chamomile tea, her phone buzzed. Startled, she glanced at the screen. "Jenny Blackheart, hey Clay, sorry I haven't answered, just saw your voicemail. Call me, please?" Claire's heart fluttered. Jenny, the friend she hadn't heard from in months, the one she'd begged for help back in Chapter 7, was finally reaching out. Was this a genuine olive branch or another cruel tease? Memories of their last fight twinged in her mind. Jenny had taken a high-powered job in Port Harcourt, grown distant, and stopped returning calls. Claire had felt abandoned when she needed her most. She tapped call and held the phone to her ear. The line crackled. "Claire? Oh my God. I'm so sorry." Jenny's voice was thick with emotion. "I got your message, but I've been a mess. I want to fix this." Claire closed her eyes. "I'm glad you did. I've been going through hell." Her voice wavered. "I need a friend right now." "Of course. Tomorrow at 10? Our old spot on Farmgate Road?" Jenny suggested. "Just you and me." A surge of relief warmed Claire's chest. "Yes. I'll be there." She ended the call and stared at the screen, hand trembling. It wasn't just a text, it was a lifeline. That night, sleep arrived only after her eyes grew heavy, images of tomorrow's meeting dancing through her dreams, the cafe's chipped green tables, Jenny's familiar smile. But doubt flickered too. Would Jenny really understand her situation? Could she trust anyone, especially someone who'd hurt her before? At 6 a.m., Claire rose with purpose. The pregnancy pillow under her arm, she brewed coffee, dressed carefully in a navy wrap dress that accentuated her bump, and applied a touch of lipstick to steel her nerves. As she locked the door behind her, she inhaled the cool morning air and whispered to her belly, "I'm doing this for us." The Farmgate Road Cafe looked the same as ever, ivy creeping up the red brick facade, hand-painted menu boards, and the scent of freshly baked banana bread drifting onto the sidewalk. Claire eased into the familiar green chair, smoothing the skirt of her dress as she waited. Moments later, Jenny appeared, her hair in a sleek braid, wearing a mustard-yellow coat that popped against the gray morning sky. She paused at the door, eyes widening when she saw Claire's bump. "Claire," she exclaimed, rushing over to embrace her. "You look beautiful." Claire hugged her back, tentative at first, then with genuine warmth. "I missed you." They ordered tea and a slice of banana walnut loaf. When the plates arrived, Claire finally let herself exhale. "I've been under attack," she began, voice low. "Evan, he's been cruel, work is a nightmare, and I'm 6 months pregnant. It's been unbearable." Jenny's gaze sharpened. "I wish I'd known sooner. I didn't realize how bad things were." She brushed crumbs from Claire's sleeve. "I was so focused on my own life I stopped paying attention." Claire swallowed the lump in her throat. "I texted before, remember? After the presentation went sideways." No reply. Jenny's cheeks flushed. "I'm sorry. Work got crazy, board meetings, travel. No excuse. You deserved better from me." They talked for hours. Jenny listened without interruption as Claire described the petty humiliations at the office, Evan's mocking texts, and the weight of everyone's laughter. Jenny's eyes filled with anger and remorse. "We'll fix this together," Jenny said, reaching across the table. "I know a couple of people in HR who can't stand Mr. Boyd's hypocrisy. And I'll help you move to that women's shelter you mentioned." Claire felt hope bloom. "I've already talked to Miriam at the Haven. I'm supposed to go there tonight." Jenny nodded. "Good. I'll pick you up on the way." As they left the cafe, the sky threatened showers. Jenny slipped her arm through Claire's. "You're not alone anymore." But just as they rounded the corner, Claire's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "He's onto you. Be careful." Claire froze. Jenny peered at the screen. Where did that come from? Claire pocketed her phone. "I don't know, but someone is watching." Night had fallen by the time Jenny and Claire pulled up outside a modest, shrub-lined house with a small sign, "The Haven Network." Warm light spilled from the windows. Jenny squeezed Claire's hand. "You ready?" Claire nodded, throat tight. Together, they crossed the picket fence and rang the bell. A tall woman with steel-gray braids opened the door. "Miriam?" "It's Jenny." "And Claire." She ushered them inside, closing the door gently behind them. The interior was calm, soft lamps, pastel walls adorned with children's drawings, and the murmur of other residents in the adjoining rooms. A young mother cradled her newborn in a rocking chair. In the corner, a teenager quietly flipped through a parenting guide. Claire pressed her hand to her chest, awe and relief mingling. Miriam led them to a small office and closed the door. "We got your message. You have a room upstairs, private, secured." She handed Claire a set of keys. "You can stay as long as you need." Claire's eyes brimmed. "Thank you." Upstairs, Jenny helped Claire unpack a duffel bag, a change of clothes, maternity essentials, and a few cherished items, a framed photo of Grandma June and a letter from Linda. Claire placed them on the bedside table. Below, the telephone rang incessantly. Jenny answered, "Hello?" Her face paled. "Evan," she said quietly. After a beat, she hung up. "He's called 5 times in the last hour." Claire felt her heartbeat spike. "Answer?" Jenny shook her head. "No. It's safer if you're off-grid for now." Claire exhaled, though her palms were damp. "I need to know he can't find me." Miriam appeared with a folder. "We've put out a no-contact order through our network. Until you're ready to come out, they won't reveal your location." But be cautious, if he hires a private investigator, they might come looking. A tremor ran through Claire. I understand. That night, as Claire lay in the soft bed, she could hear the distant hum of traffic, the muffled cries of infants in the nursery. It felt life-affirming yet precarious. She checked her phone one last time, no new messages. Instead, she tucked it into the locked drawer of her bedside table. Just before drifting off, she heard someone whisper her name through the walls. Claire. It sounded like Jenny, but the voice was too soft, too uncertain. Claire woke to sunlight filtering through pastel curtains. She dressed quietly, slipping on a sweatshirt Jenny had brought. Downstairs, the communal kitchen buzzed with early risers. A volunteer served porridge and tea. Claire joined a table of expectant mothers, offering tentative smiles as stories drifted around her about morning sickness and nursery decor. A knock sounded at the locked front door. Claire froze. Jenny, who'd returned late last night, slipped into the room. "They're looking for you," she said in a low voice. "Someone matching your description was asking neighbors if you were seen." Claire's pulse thundered. "What? Here?" "Yes. I think Evans reached out to your landlord, even the grocery store. He's using every contact to find you." Fear quailed in Claire's gut. This wasn't intimidation, it was a manhunt. She realized safety was a fragile illusion. Upstairs, Jenny helped Claire pack a small backpack, birth documents, cash, and Grandma June's letter. "We may have to move again," she whispered. "There's another safe location in Lecky." Claire nodded numbly. "Do it." They gathered in the vestibule. As they stepped into the crisp air, Jenny froze. "It's him." Across the street, Evan stood by a sleek black SUV, phone glinting in his hand as he spoke. "She has to answer." "This is ridiculous." He glanced toward the haven. His eyes locked on a window where a hand pressed against the glass. Claire's breath caught. Her sanctuary felt shattered. Meanwhile, at Boyd Associates, Evan burst into Mr. Boyd's office. "She's vanished," he panted, buttoning his jacket. "I can't, what if something's happened?" Mr. Boyd regarded him coolly. "You mean your wife? Does this affect our repositioning pitch? Your absence yesterday cost us credibility." Evan swallowed. "People are talking. I need her found." Boyd's lips curved. "I'll have HR send out an inquiry, discreetly, of course." He tapped his pen. "But you must attend this afternoon's board meeting. Don't let personal drama compromise your work." Evan's face went pale. "Yes, of course." Late that afternoon, Claire and Jenny tucked themselves into a nondescript white van. Jenny drove, glancing back to ensure they weren't followed. Claire clutched Grandma June's letter as it rippled in her lap. The van turned off the main road and crawled down a narrow lane between manicured hedges. They arrived at a small cottage painted sunflower yellow, hidden behind tall hedgerows. A volunteer greeted them, "Welcome to Grace's home. We'll keep you secure." Claire felt tears prick her eyes, another refuge, but this time under her own terms. Upstairs, she found a bright room with a crib, plush toys, and a stack of parenting books. She placed her duffel by the bed and sank onto the mattress, running her hand along the quilted duvet. For the first time, she allowed herself a smile. Downstairs, Jenny pulled out her phone. "We should update him." Claire nodded, steeling herself. Together, they composed a text to Evan from Claire's secondary number. "Claire, I am safe. I will not return home until I know I'm respected and protected. Claire, I will make arrangements for our child. You will be informed when I choose to." Claire's thumb hovered over send. She caught Jenny's eye. "Do it." The message went through. No read receipts, no immediate reply. Silence stretched between them. Meanwhile, at Boyd Associates, Evan's phone buzzed. He unlocked it to see Claire's text on an unknown number. His face twisted with fury and fear. He showed it to Mr. Boyd. Evan, she's taunting me. Mr. Boyd, this is a legal nightmare. Our reputation, your reputation, is at stake. You need to salvage this. Boyd leaned back. I'll handle it. You focus on tomorrow's pitch. And consider couples counseling, public relations will love that. Evan's jaw clenched. I'll do whatever it takes. Back at Grace's home, Claire prepared to tackle her next challenge, finding paid work that would sustain her and her baby. She logged into her laptop and navigated to a nonprofit called Mothers Rising, which empowered single mothers through job training and grants. A position for program coordinator was open. She clicked apply and began drafting her cover letter, weaving in her own story of resilience. As she typed, a quiet confidence bloomed inside her. She was no longer waiting for rescue, she was orchestrating her own salvation. Claire arrived at the brightly painted offices of Mothers Rising 20 minutes early, her heart fluttering with equal parts excitement and nerves. The nonprofit's mission, to empower single mothers with skills, support, and employment, resonated deeply with her own recent journey. As she stepped through the front door, she was greeted by the buzz of collaborators brainstorming around a whiteboard covered in sticky notes. Claire Carter, called a warm voice. Claire looked up to see Marisol, the program director, extending a hand. Marisol's dark eyes shone with kindness. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Claire shook her hand, smiling. Thank you for the opportunity. Marisol led her to a circular table scattered with flyers. We're launching a pilot mentorship program next month. I'd like you to co-lead the curriculum design. Your background in corporate strategy will be invaluable. Claire's pulse quickened. I'd be honored. As the morning unfolded, Claire met her new team, Deo, the graphic designer who sketched user-friendly workbooks, Tina, a fellow expectant mother who shared tips on nursery decor, and Amara, a recent graduate turned caseworker. Over steaming mugs of herbal tea, they shared personal stories of stigmatization, perseverance, and big dreams. Claire felt a fierce kinship igniting in her chest. By midday, Marisol handed Claire her first task, draft a workshop outline on negotiating your worth, empowering mothers to advocate for fair wages. Claire's fingers flew across her laptop, heart guiding her words, you are not a charity case, you are an asset. Just as she hit save, her phone buzzed with an email notification from Boyd Associates, subject, disciplinary review, unprofessional conduct. Her chest tightened. She opened the message with trembling hands. Ms. Carter, following recent complaints, you are requested to attend a virtual hearing regarding alleged workplace misconduct. Details to follow. Claire's breath hitched. This was unexpected and oddly vindicating. The same institution that had belittled her was now worried about her behavior. She closed the laptop, steeling herself. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the city skyline, Claire called Jenny. They've opened a case against me at my old firm. Jenny's voice crackled with triumph. Good. Let it burn. Claire let out a shaky laugh. I never thought I'd say this, but thank you, Boyd Associates. At 9 a.m. the next day, Evan joined a high-stakes board meeting via video conference. His polished suit and confident posture masked the storm inside him. Across his screen, the partners at Boyd Associates exchanged curt nods before Mr. Boyd cleared his throat. Mr. Marshall, we have received evidence, emails, coworker statements, regarding your personal conduct toward your pregnant spouse and subordinate colleagues, he announced, voice steady. This behavior conflicts with our firm's code of ethics. Evan's jaw clenched. These are baseless rumors, sir. A legal counsel window popped up on screen. We recommend immediate suspension pending investigation, the counsel advised. Stunned, Evan stared at his reflection in the webcam. But, my reputation, my career. Mr. Boyd's gaze was icy. Your reputation here is already tarnished. We cannot compromise client trust. The board's decision is final. He clicked a button. Evan's video feed froze to a silent thumbnail. Evan pounded the desk. The room echoed with distant traffic, but inside his home office, time stood still. His phone buzzed, a string of missed calls, from his mentor, his father, even his own assistant. He wiped sweat from his brow and dialed Grandma June, his only real ally outside corporate circles. But her number went straight to voicemail. Meanwhile, news outlets picked up on the suspension. An industry website published, top partner suspended amid misconduct allegations, Evan Marshall's fall from grace. His email inbox flooded with messages, some supportive, many mocking. He scrolled, stomach churning. He laughed at her pregnancy, what a monster. Good riddance to the office bully. Evan sank into his chair, guilt and rage colliding. His phone rang, Jenny's number flashed. He ignored it. Instead, he stared at his LinkedIn profile, photos of luxury retreats, boardroom presentations, endless accolades, all now overshadowed by a single line, status, under investigation. He whispered to the silent room, Claire, what have I done? Under the soft glow of the hospital's birthing suite, Claire gripped Jenny's hand as contractions surged. The distant hum of monitors mixed with her own labored breaths. Beads of sweat glimmered on her brow, but beneath the pain, exhilaration thrummed. Soon, she would hold her son. A calm voice crackled over the intercom, transition phase, push when you're ready. Midwife Amara, now Claire's colleague, smiled reassuringly. You've got this, Claire. One more big push. Claire nodded and braced herself. With Jenny and Grandma June by her side, jammed into folding chairs, she summoned every ounce of strength. 1, 2, 3, a final surge, and a new cry filled the room. Congratulations, Claire, Amara announced, placing a swaddled, pink-cheeked baby boy on her chest. His wide eyes blinked up, as if greeting a brave world. Claire's tears flowed freely. Hello, my love, she whispered, brushing his soft cheek. Welcome. Grandma June wept with joy. Jenny wiped her own tears. In that luminous moment, Claire felt reborn. Yet even in celebration, a shadow loomed. As Claire kissed her son goodnight in the nursery ward, her phone buzzed on the bedside table. She glanced at the screen, Evan Marshall is calling. Her heart thudded. She stared at the phone, torn between compassion and self-preservation. The next morning, Claire slipped her hospital gown over pajamas and walked to the lounge with her son cradled against her. Through the glass doors stood Evan, nervously checking his reflection, lip quivering. Nurse Tina intercepted him. He's not allowed without permission, Tina said firmly. Evan showed a wad of papers, divorce summons and an urgent motion for joint custody. Tina's expression softened. I'll check with admissions. Inside, Claire saw Evan enter the visitors' area. Her chest tightened. She approached, baby in arms. Claire, Evan began, voice raw. I'm so sorry. I never meant, his gaze flicked to their son, cooing softly. Our son. I missed this, missed you both. Claire held him in her eyes for a long moment. Then she gently lifted the baby. This is your son, Evan. And he deserves a mother who fights for him. I've fought to build a safe life for him. I will not fight you, only for him. Evan's eyes brimmed. Please, can we try counseling? Family therapy? Claire shook her head. Counseling can't unring the jokes you made about me carrying his life inside me. She set her baby against her shoulder. Goodbye, Evan. She walked away, each step echoing with her determination. Evan stood frozen, the papers slipping from his hand. Weeks later, Claire stood before a modest three-bedroom house, its pastel green facade shining in the afternoon sun. In one hand, she held a set of keys, in the other, her baby boy nestled against her chest. Jenny and Grandma June flanked her, cheering as the real estate agent handed over the final documents. Congratulations, Mrs. Carter, the agent smiled. Welcome home. He handed her the key ring, jingling like new beginnings. Claire's feet carried her across the threshold. Inside, sunlight streamed through wide windows, dancing on the hardwood floors. She explored each room, the nursery painted in soft yellow, the study lined with shelves waiting for her books, the living room perfect for morning cuddles. In the center of the empty expanse, Claire set her son on the floor, on a plush rug, and watched his curious fingers trace the grain of the wood. As he giggled, she felt her own laughter blossom. Later, on the front porch swing, Claire traced Grandma June's letter one last time. It read, "Daughter of Queens, build your kingdom." She folded it into the back pocket of her jeans. Jenny passed her a cup of lemonade. "You did it," she said softly. Claire took a sip, glancing at her son as he chased a ladybug across the lawn. "We did it," she corrected, voice thick with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without you all." She closed her eyes, inhaling the scent of fresh beginnings. No more mockery, no more confinements, just a home built on love, strength, and unwavering self-worth. As dusk settled, the house glowed from within, warmth spilling onto the street. Claire watched her son wave at fireflies dancing in the twilight. The end.